In 2 years, Andre Drummond went from all-star to all-outcast. Literally, nobody wanted a 27-year-old two-time all-star in his physical prime, not even injured. So what's the problem? Well, years later, he tried to pass that lesson on to a group of kids he was coaching.
Fellas, I was that guy. I was a $100 million guy. I was pouting. I was upset when I wasn't playing. And I had a bad attitude. I went from $100 million to a league minimum. And it's a personal story I'm sharing with you guys right now.
It is so rare for an NBA player to talk like that. Normally, dudes just like shut out the world or quit basketball if things go south. But Drummond is now a permanent bench player, cheering on the player that he used to hate and loving it. What changed? Well, it all happened one night in a locker room before a game. Drummond was so scared that he had to tell his coach to bench him that night, and what happened next changed his life forever. But Drummond is actually pretty used to teams not wanting him. He was so uncoordinated as a kid that a rival coach said he had trouble chewing gum and walking at the same time. They had a youth league draft in his town. Dude was picked dead last despite being taller than everyone, but he kept training and finally broke out at age 14. Drummond had a quadruple double in middle school, 27 points, 16 boards, 14 blocks, and 10 steals. Beast! But something threatened his basketball future. Andre told his single mom that he loved football, and she reluctantly let him play. But he was terrible. He's just not a natural. But he was naturally tall, 6'10" entering high school. So local college UConn came to recruit, and their legendary coach Jim Calhoun was like, how can I even tell if this kid is good? Because the score was 74-18. Andre had like 17 blocked shots, maybe 10 or 11 dunks. It was a joke. He was so much bigger, stronger, and faster than all the other kids that it was a joke. So Andre transferred to St. Thomas More Prep School for a better competition, and he dominated, but there were questions about his attitude. A Fox Sports scout said there was an issue with Andre not always playing hard. Some of it, in my opinion, was boredom. He just didn't engage if the competition sucked. It's like the opposite of Kobe Bryant, who just wanted to kill the opponent. But Drummond was like, I'm bored. I'm gonna go take a nap. But still, he was ranked the #1 or #2 high school recruit in the country, which means every college is recruiting him like a million scholarship offers. No! Andre graduated early and told all the schools, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna just transfer to another high school. But then suddenly he changed his mind, and UConn was like, we don't even have any scholarships left. So kid just tweeted, yeah, it's official, I'm headed to the University of Connecticut to be a Husky this year, without telling anybody at UConn. So all the coaches see this tweet and they're all scrambling because the #1 player just committed to you. His future teammate at UConn offered to give up his scholarship, but Andre said no, and he took out loans and walked on as the #1 recruit. Now, I know what you're thinking, somebody was paying him under the table, but the NCAA thought that same thing, and they investigated him for 3 months and cleared him. But the year at UConn was terrible. Drummond had bad numbers, they got knocked out of the first round of March Madness, and still, he was projected to be a top pick in the NBA draft. But again, questions about maturity. NBA scouts asked his coach, hey, why doesn't Andre love basketball? So Drummond fell to #9 in the draft, and the Pistons took him in 2012. And once he got to the Pistons, he asked coaches, what can I do to have a long career in the NBA? And they said, you need to perfect one skill, be the absolute best at one thing, and I promise you, you'll always have a spot. So Andre said to himself, nobody hangs their hat on rebounding, so you know what? I'm gonna be the best rebounder to ever play. Nobody wants to go after rebound every possession, but I'll do it. So this dude studied the nuances of rebounding. He checked stats for the best rebounders in the league to chase them down. Established himself as a double-double machine, one of, if not the best rebounder in the NBA by his 3rd year. But some fans started to turn on him. Yes, he was an all-star in 2016 at 22 years old, but Drummond's attitude was weird. Take this game in late 2016. The Pistons were about to clinch the playoffs for the first time since 2009. Coach Stan Van Gundy benched Andre for free throw issues, but watch him here. Okay, the rest of the team is cheering on their teammates. Drummond just sulking by himself on the bench. The greatest moment for your franchise in years, and all you can think about is yourself? But hey, a 23-year-old all-star, Pistons made him the highest paid player in team history. 5 years, $127 million max contract. And dude put up big numbers, played defense, but the Pistons sucked. In Drummond's time there, they made the playoffs, 2 times and got swept in the first round in both seasons. And Drummond just continued his bad attitude. I mean, in the 2019 playoffs, fans booed him at home and the announcers called out his soft game. Like, who plays like this when you're down 0-2 in the playoffs with the season on the line? He even admitted later he would miss shots on purpose to pad his rebounding stats. And once he got that max contract, he thought to himself, that's it, my job is done here. So the Pistons traded Drummond in 2019, and after the Cavs put him on the trade market, nobody was interested. And not only was his attitude questioned, but big men who can't shoot lost value. So Andre started to bounce around the league until one day before a game in Chicago, it all broke.
You know, for me, I got to a point where I was just like not happy with myself. I remember I was sitting in the locker room and I was just like, Billy Donovan is like talking and it's like muffled, like I can't hear anything. I'm just like numb, like I'm just in this like mode where I just can't feel anything. And I was like, yo, something's wrong. I was like, I think I'm about to break. And as he finished, I just felt my body start getting hot. And I'm just like, fuck, man. I'm like, yo, I'm about to lose it, man. I'm like, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I can't explain it. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I don't know why it's all of a sudden. Why right now? Why in this locker room? Like, I just had no answers. And as we broke, I just walked out of the locker room and I walked around the corner. I just sat in this hallway by myself. And I just fucking let it out, bro. I just broke down and started crying, bro. I just sat there for like 20 minutes.
Andre says that everybody saw what happened in the locker room. There was no hiding it. Later, he told his coach that he needed time off, deleted his social media, changed his phone number. Drummond had some kind of panic attack and started therapy for the first time, which he says saved his life. It turns out all the pressure of being a superstar that the league didn't want anymore got to him. Because despite all the money and all the fame, it broke him to hear everybody talk like he's worthless. So somehow he had to separate his status as a pro athlete from who he actually was as a person. Like, being an NBA star couldn't define him, because what happens when that gets taken away? Who even was he if he made the league minimum? Was he still worth anything as a person? The answer had to be yes. He is worth something regardless of basketball. Otherwise, what's the point? So Drummond learned how to reshift his focus in life. Be grateful for the little things like health and family, not wealth and fame. He started finding joy in just playing the game again, which is why when the Sixers wanted to sign him, and everybody said, no way is that gonna work. Him and Joel Embiid have beef for years. It did work because Drummond was now just happy to be on the court, be Joel's backup. It didn't matter anymore. His self-worth now wasn't tied up in how many minutes he played or how much money he made. What is awesome about this story is we almost never get to see pro athletes grow up like this while they're still playing the game. They usually get humbled years after playing and talk about it when they're old, or they just never grow up at all. But Andre Drummond has learned a lot, and now he's trying to pass that on to other players while he is still finishing his own career. But full disclosure, I am on vacation right now. I am in Greece. Hopefully Giannis, speaking of Greece, gets traded before I leave, but it's why I'm doing like random feature stories like this, okay? And I used to do them all the time. Like, how about what happened to Hassan Whiteside? Another big man who learned a lot about maturity late in his career. Check it out.